Hi, I'm Diane Date. It's the 33rd annual Boscov's Berks Jazz Fest right here in Reading, Pennsylvania. We're in the last weekend, and we are catching up with the one and only magnificent. What are you doing?
Annoying you. What else do I do?
Of course you are. All right, I was going to say how you are an amazing bass player. You going to let me say that?
Where?
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're so diverse. You're so talented, and you've worked on honing your craft for years. And I know we as an audience appreciate you on every aspect.
Oh, that's very sweet. You try, you do what's in your heart, you work your butt off, if I can say butt. Spell it B-U-T so I can say it. You just work hard, and you want to be the best you can be for yourself. You play, and it's like, I do it for me, and it's nice that some people like what I do. It's wonderful,
Yeah.
So you try. With age, you hone in, I guess. You stop. You make less mistakes. So when you make less mistakes, you end up with something that's not so bad, right? It's amazing the stuff you do when you're young. Like, why did I record that? Oh my God!
Yeah.
And you stop doing that. It's like, it's pretty good. So anyway, you just work hard.
Well, you do. You do a lot of different projects. I mean, you've done Hendrix. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a blessing and a curse. I have to tell you. No, I mean it seriously. I fight it every day because I wouldn't trade who I am and what I do for anything. I love my diversity. I love it. It's kind of unique. There are very few people. I'm not like putting myself on a pedestal. I don't mean it that way. There are not a lot of people that are as diverse as I am, that put every ounce of energy into everything I do. Whatever path I go, if it's a different style of music, or different genre, a different part of jazz, acoustic, electric, fusion, traditional, smooth, whatever, I jump in with both feet and try to do the best I can. The problem with that is that I could play you 5 or 6 different records of mine, and you would have no idea that they're me. And you might not even know who the artist is and who's the lead player, because I play so many different types of basses and different instruments that it's very difficult for people to go, oh, Kenny G in 2 seconds, Peter White in 2 seconds, Pat Metheny in 2 seconds, and look at the careers they've had.
Yeah.
You don't know that with Brian Bromberg. Right? So in a way, it's hurt me in the industry, because people, like record stores, back when there were stores, they didn't know where to put my records at times, because it's like, well, is it this or is it this? They don't know. Radio stations, it's the same thing. Yeah, it's a little too smooth for jazz. No, it's a little too jazz for smooth. You find yourself in no man's land if you don't do a very specific, identifiable thing in sound.
Right.
I get bored doing the same thing over and over and over. I don't want to eat spaghetti every meal, even though I love spaghetti and I could eat every meal.
Exactly.
You want you want that. So that's been hard for me, actually. It's hurt my career. It hasn't helped my career. It's actually hurt my career, but it's warmed my soul. So
that's the important part.
Right.
So we just don't know where to put you, but we like when we put you in different places, because you excel.
Well, thank you.
And
well, it's like, I mean, I have absolutely no business recording something if it isn't the best I can possibly make it. You don't need to hear me. Go listen to Miles Davis, Oscar Peters. It's like, why am I doing something unless I'm saying something that is worthy of saying and worthy of listening to? So for me, it's like, I don't just do it because I can or want to. It's like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to own it. And that's the thing. That's what makes it somewhat challenging. But my heart's behind every note. I don't care what style it is. To me, as I've gotten older and grown up, there's 2 kinds of music in this world: music that's played well and music that's not played well. I don't care what the style is. If it's good, it's good.
Well, talk about LaFaro.
Yeah, this is bittersweet in a way. I've done several tribute records. None of them were my idea. They all just kind of came about. Labels were like, hey, do this, do this. Actually, I think the Jabim one was mine, because I love his music, and the record wanted me to do, the record label in Japan wanted me to do a record with orchestra and strings. So I'm like, well, man, let's do this, because I love that music so much. Scott LaFaro, for those of you who don't know Scott LaFaro was the bassist who was in the legendary Bill Evans trio. And unfortunately, he got killed in a car accident when he was 25 years old in 1961, driving home from a gig.
Wow.
And he was brilliant, way ahead of his time, a complete visionary, a savant, did stuff on the bass. I mean, I wasn't even a year old when he died. He was doing things on the bass back then that no one even thought about. They couldn't even comprehend. And he was doing things. He was so far ahead of his time. And label in Japan, King Records, that I work with all the time, said, man, we would love for you to do a Scott LaFaro tribute record. And I was just like, well, I don't know if I want to touch that. It's like he was, And they said, well, please think about it. Like you're one of the only few guys who could do this. Please do this. And it made me feel good that they entrusted me enough to want me to do it and think I could do a good job doing it. And I was like, well, all right, I'll think about it, but I'm not sure if I'm feeling it. So I started listening to the old Bill Evans records again and listening to Scott, and it was like, wow, I just forgot how much of an impact he had on my playing in certain areas of his playing. And it's, as a soloist, as a lyrical musician, as somebody singing through their instrument, he was the first upright bass player to do that at the level that he did it at. In the register of the bass that he did it at. And I just didn't realize how much an impact he had on my playing. I just didn't put two and two together until they said, do this, and I listened again. It was like, whoa, okay, now that I realize that so much of what I do is inspired by what he did, I agreed to do the record because I realized it really did have an impact on me.
Yeah.
The coolest thing about the whole project, for me personally as a human, is his sister, who's in her 80s, and we got to be good friends, and she's a writer. She actually interviewed me for a biography that she did on Scott years ago, and she would come to my gigs in LA when I was playing upright. And when this project came about, the first thing I did is reached out to her and just said, you have to be involved in this project. I want you to write. I want you to do whatever. I want to pick your brain. I just want to talk to you about, So we just spent a whole lot of time talking about their family and about Scott and the music in the house and their dad, who was a musician. It just reminded me of like my father and the music growing up. And all of a sudden through this whole process, I felt incredibly close to Scott and his family. I felt like I knew his family, and I realized that they were very similar to my family in a way. So all of a sudden, this project became real. It became human. It meant something more than just, here's a jazz bass player record that no one's really going to care about. It was like, now that there's really something behind this. And it took the record in a completely different place for me. And it's one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. We did it live, 2 days, 14 songs. Boom. After I had COVID, which I didn't realize I had COVID until after the fact and what it did to me, and it triggered Epstein-Barr virus and mono. I had COVID, Epstein-Barr, and mono at the same time. I thought I was dying. I was falling asleep in the middle of recording. I'd fall asleep while I was playing. I couldn't go up 2 stairs. And then when this record came up, it's like, how am I going to do this? I can't do a live record. It's like, and miraculously, I did it. I got better enough that I could do the session. So this record means a lot to me, but having that connection with the family and getting through the sessions physically and the music, it's a beautiful record. I'm really, really proud of it. And that just came out the day Berks started.
The
April
festival
5th.
day, right. Well, there's a lot of heart and soul in this, and that's what it's all about, isn't it?
That's it. And I tell you, the people here this year, maybe because I missed last year, maybe somebody actually missed me. No. The people here have been so amazing, going up and down the hallway, and they, it's like, man, I heard you the other night. You're great. That's really nice, but it's more of the amount of care and respect. Not because I'm famous or any of that. It's not that. It's just they are so down to earth and so real. And that's what makes this festival so cool. It's like you see these people and they've seen you for years. They've watched your evolution. They've listened to your evolution. They see all these things. And you just feel like you're home. It's like they make you feel so good and they recognize that part of you, and there's so much respect for all the musicians, and it's amazing. You don't get that at many festivals. And this is very, very special.
Well,
so it's really
speaking of that, tomorrow morning.
I'll be sleeping in. There's nothing going on. Sound check at 8 o'clock in the morning. Just what jazz musicians want to do is be plucking strings at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's the brunch. I can't wait, actually. Bands kick in. Lynn Roundtree, Everett Hart, Michael Paulo, Andrew News hiding in the horn section. Got a 6-piece horn section. There's going to be a bunch of us, on stage. It's going to get extremely funky and some pretty things. I can't wait. It's an honor to be able to play your music, but to be able to play your music with musicians that are this good in an environment like that. And it's really cool because people are there for the food, so they're stuck listening to us whether they want to or not. It's perfect. It's like, you have to listen. You have to applaud, too.
Right.
I'm really looking forward to it.
I think it's going to be great. And I know you just had rehearsal, and that went well.
Man, like no major train wrecks. It was like, oh my God. Well, they're pros, when you work with good musicians. And I'm not going to say that I'm the most together person in the world, but I try to be really together when it comes to the music. Everybody gets stuff in advance.
Right.
Here's the songs, here's this, here's the demos. You can't not do a good job when they work on what I give them in advance.
Yes.
So I walk in, we come and set up the stuff, make sure everything works. Of course, I forgot a cable, had to figure that out, but we did.
It's always something.
And always something. But from note one, bam, it was flawless. It was perfect.
Wow.
So that
Wow.
makes me feel good, and you surround yourself with greatness. It takes the stress off.
And
Everybody's
you were at
great.
a nice studio to do this too, weren't you?
Oh yeah. Oh, Spiro's place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. It's like they've got everything. The space, the gear, it's all set up. I mean, they're great. And you think about what's there. Reading, Pennsylvania. They've got this serious studio, all this gear, beautiful grand piano. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's really great. It's great. It makes it really easy for us.
Yeah. Well, we look forward to hearing you tomorrow. We look forward to hearing you the days after that. We look forward to getting your recordings as well.
Thank you.
And to hear what else you're going to get yourself involved with, which we know
Oh.
you will. What?
Let me just announce now the new band. You mentioned
Please
that.
do. Yes.
So there's a new group that's starting. It's called BPM, which has two meanings. BPM in music means beats per minute. So everything's BPM. The tempo's 126 beats per minute. But it's also the initials of Brian, Michael Paulo, and Paul Brown. BPM, right? So we have a new project that's almost done. It'll be out hopefully in the fall. Late summer, probably fall at this point. But it's a really, really good record. And I'm not just saying that.
Okay.
The music is great. It's great. We're all incredibly excited about it. And Paul and Michael and all, we all get along great. And it's a really neat combination because we are all so different, but together we really work. You know, I'm the jazz guy and does all this crazy stuff. Paul's the blues greasy guy, and Paolo's just jumping around, dancing on stage, going crazy, playing his butt off, right? But we're really good together. We're friends on and off the court, so to speak.
Absolutely.
It's the chemistry is phenomenal, and the music is really, really good. And it's I will say it's a very smooth jazz record that's not smooth jazz. Meaning there'll be a ton of hits on radio. But there's a lot of depth in the songs. There's very little,
Good.
It's really, some of the music is really, really good. So I'm excited about it. So it's called BPM. It'll come out this fall, and. Yeah, man. Hopefully we'll play next year at the festival.
And you heard it here. You heard it here.
Right. In some hotel room in the DoubleTree Hotel.
Yes,
right?
yes, the pink room, right?
Yes, 724. Yes.
So anyway, we will see.
By the time anybody sees this, you'll be gone. It's fine.
Anyway.
Right.
So we will see you tomorrow. We'll hear you, and everybody is going to be in fabulous form, and I can't wait.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you so much for being here, and
of course.
thank you for joining us at Berks Jazz Fest.